It's the end of the weekend, but I still wanna turn up. Yeah, I still wanna turn up. All I want is to go again, but you ain't picking your phone up. Why you messing my head up? Any night, any day, let me take you away. All I need is just saying yeah.
Okay, we're jumping in today, guys.
Let's go. Ready?
Okay. Worst person I know became a therapist. I have thoughts about this title, but we move. I have a former friend who was really awful to me. She was rude, condescending, and mean, and would put me down at every opportunity. I opened up to her about my childhood trauma, and she told me that I was abused because I am a weak person. I used to have low self-esteem, and instead of avoiding her, I tried to please her for years. She seemed to find pleasure in being cruel to me. What is even more troubling is that this wasn't a high school bully. All of this happened while we were adults, and she's actually older than me.
Troubling for who are you?
She is also one of the most judgmental people I've ever met, and she loves to gossip about other people, criticize them, and tear them down. I feel like because of her, I am now scared to open up to people, and I have become more wary of people and less social. Despite this, she is always talking about how compassionate and empathetic she is. I'm concerned about her having authority over vulnerable people as a therapist. When I opened up to her about issues in my life, she would often use my vulnerabilities to attack me later. I'm hoping that her training has improved her as a person.
Definitely not.
Yeah, no, that never happens. But I don't think that a person can change that drastically. She's also never apologized or acknowledged how she treated me, and I don't think she's aware that she emotionally abused me. I know that there's not so much I can do about the situation. I've thought about writing an anonymous letter to her employer, Jesus, but I know that would just make me look crazy.
And would.
It seems like there should be more mechanisms to filter out people like her in the profession, but there aren't. They actually love them.
What do you think? Why does the title bother you?
I just feel like it's become such a thing. It's like the worst person you know is a therapist. Blah, 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 blah.
It's kind of true, though.
It might be true because there's so many bad therapists, but I also feel
there's
like
just so many people who are mentally ill that become therapists to work out their own shit.
Yeah.
There's so many mentally ill therapists. It's wild.
You think they do it consciously?
No, I think it's subconscious. I think there's a large group of people, and I think a lot of them are women because we're socialized this way, who never ever have to develop who they are as people, work on themselves, hold themselves accountable, worry about their own happiness because they throw themselves into other people's lives and caring for other people. And they do it constantly, and they like being burnt out, and they like being exhausted, and they like being tired because then they don't have to think about their own shit. And so, I think helping professions draw those people, and those people are not self-aware, and they're not nice to themselves, so they can't be nice to other people. Mm-hmm. And they can cosplay as empathetic, but I think if you meet with them long enough or you spend enough time with them, you start to realize
it's not real.
It's not real.
I do know some people who should definitely not be therapists.
One of the worst friends I ever had is a therapist for young children.
Really?
Yes, she works with kids under 8. You knew this.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I lost,
one of the therapists, one of the worst therapists, one of the worst people I ever knew.
Yes, agreed.
And I worked with her as well.
Do you guys?
All I can say is that if it's not working, throw it out. This is so victim blaming, and I don't mean to be that victim blaming.
But we know where you're coming from.
But one relationship as an adult specifically, not an inter-partner relationship or not a parent relationship, should not make you not trust other people. There's something else going on that you didn't just drop this friend. You met her in high school or after high school, as adults.
It gives you're in love with her.
Ooh.
I think that's what it gives.
So that
sentence specifically makes me feel like you've been pining after her, or maybe you don't know that you're gay. That sounds really bad to say too. Holy shit.
Boy, you're going all in on this gay thing, huh?
What are you going to say, Gabe?
I was just going to ask so when you read that the first time, the second I heard her say basically blaming someone from high school for their misery today,
After high school, she said she met them as an adult, which is even more embarrassing.
It's even,
and they're older than she is.
It makes me think that she's the nutcase. That this therapist could be, they might have been kind of shitty when they were
she might have been a
at
bitch.
that time or something, but I don't know. To me, just anyone who's hanging on to that kind of shit it's like she wants to be a victim desperately is how I feel. I don't know if that's true. But
also bringing to Reddit. Not that we're,
right.
We're on here perusing as well, but.
Well, I also think too, just the notion that She could have also just, when she says like, it's your fault. I find it, what did you say when she said the abuse is your fault for being weak? What did you say? I'm like, that feels like the boldest. So this woman's also, not only she's the meanest person in the world, but she's the boldest bitch ever. I wouldn't even say that to somebody.
I would never say that to somebody.
Like, I don't know, man.
It sounds like it's really true with this lady, though, because she was going to write an anonymous letter.
Which wouldn't have done
She is
anything. Nobody
weak.
cares.
Right.
Especially if it's anonymous. That could be like, what?
They said
Someone's
I was
gonna
weak.
think one of her clients did this.
Yes.
That she fired.
Literally.
She said I was weak, so I'm going to write an anonymous letter to get her back. Like, wow.
Yeah.
And none of this sounds like she actually wants her out of her life. It sounds like she wants her to like realize what she's done to her and like
That's
make it better.
a very good point. That's a very good point.
Like I'm like
That she wants the apology more.
Yeah.
Like that it's not just a dismiss kind
well,
of.
it sounds like she hasn't even like this person isn't out of her life. I'm assuming. I don't know that, but
I think she is.
do you read that here or not? Do you
I have a former friend who was really awful
right.
to me.
Okay.
Yeah.
You're right.
I was going to say, I
I
don't
mean,
know where the
I
lesbian
also
subplot came
know
from.
a couple of Rachel's friends who she's introduced me to that were supposedly therapists that were some of the cattiest, dumbest people I've ever met. That was like what threw me is how dumb one of them was. Sorry, not to be wild, but I was like,
I'm being silent for a reason.
the life decisions.
I agreed.
The life decisions that she was making, like I almost feel like what I wish is that like in some way, obviously don't wish this because that would happen to me, but like, and if I rule the world type shit, therapists would have to like expose a little bit about like their personal life and not from like themselves, from other people. Like I want to know a little bit about your dating history if you're going to tell me like what to do with my marriage and all the things.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, like if I ruled the world, like you would have to know actually a lot about your therapist, and then you'd get to decide if you wanted to work with them.
I'm not mad at that. You should know how a little bit about their politic, a little bit. Like you should know I feel like you should know some shit about your therapist.
I want to know if their kids like them.
Yeah,
I want to know if they have a healthy relationship with their parent, and if they don't, I want to know if they set boundaries with them
and what they did about it.
I want to know how they spend their money. I want to know if they're cheating on their husband or wife. Like I just like, obviously we're just people, but it's just interesting because
it matters.
I just think there's a lot of people who you don't have to live by your own advice, but you have to at least know when you're not applying it. And I feel like that's the part that's like scary to me is when I know that therapists who are making bad choices and don't know they're bad choices. That's the part that blows me.
Yes.
You're human. You're going to make bad choices. And if you know you're making bad choices, I have a lot more respect.
Yeah.
You're like, I don't know why I'm doing this. I'm just being wild. I know this is stupid.
Yeah.
But that's not what was happening. It was like literally walking around doe-eyed, confused that the world was walking all over them.
Why is this happening?
Why is this happening? I put myself in terrible positions all the time. I'm almost 30 years old, but why is this happening?
And why am I getting held accountable?
Yeah.
Do you feel like it, like, okay, if you got those answers and the person, their marriage is on the rocks or whatever, those kind of things, would you not hire them to be your therapist?
I would hire them to be my therapist if they said something like, my marriage is in a rough place and here's how I'm feeling. Or like, it's not that your life has to be perfect. I just want to know that you're like sensible and in reality.
Yeah.
It's not about actually being able to execute everything. I think actually being a little imperfect probably makes you more relatable as a therapist. So it's not that. It's just like, is your marriage in shambles and have no idea? That's why I'm like, it couldn't be like a self-report. It'd have to be like gathered information from people around them.
I've self-reported that to clients. I've been like, I'm going through a divorce or I'm going through break, like just as like a thing. And it's like, nobody cares.
No, that's why I said like, if I ruled the world, it'd be like other people gathering like information.
I love it.
I want to like somebody on your close friends to like show me what you're posting. Like
you have to show that. What are we not
like
seeing?
A full Black Mirror deep dive into like therapists.
I'm not mad at that because it will weed some people out.
It would weed everyone out.
Do you guys tell me if I'm way out of bounds here on this one? But I've had this prejudicial like thing where, and like Javay, you landed on it perfectly. The whole thing of how your kids feel about like, are you tight with your kids? Are you like, how's your relation? I judge that more than anything. Like if there's some adult who whatever, if they'll shit talk their kid or they don't have a good relationship, I just go like, you were in charge, bro. You were the one who fucking if you think your kid's a piece of shit,
you made him
you were the fucking teacher.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just crazy to me how often they'll, whatever, people will share that.
The best thing about having kids is you have them with one other person. And so you also find that like parents who know that it's not the kid's fault, just put it on the other person.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's like what their favorite thing to do.
Yeah.
100%.
It's disgusting. All right. Any good comments?
No, there wasn't actually. I pulled it up and I was like,
sounds
it's
good.
all worthless. Yeah.
On to the next one.
Wait, what would you say to her?
She can write as many letters as she wants.
Get a spine.
Write your little heart out, baby girl.
Quit being weak.
You send all those journal pages, honey. You do it,
Dear
girl.
diary.
Dear diary. This person who was mean to me has a better life than me. How can I pull them down to my level?
If someone came in,
Blinks.
if someone came in to see you who's 30 years old as a therapist and they're talking to you, and if they're dwelling on high school experiences for why they're miserable now, would you call that out early on?
I mean,
as a therapist?
Yeah.
Wait, if they were my client or my friend?
Your
who's
client.
A therapist. Oh.
I wouldn't call it out. Or I'd have to.
You have to build that
You have to
rapport,
build the
obviously,
rapport,
but yeah.
I think I would start out by being like reflecting back. Like, it seems like you've been struggling with these feelings since high school. Like, I would reflect.
Yeah.
Instead of like, and hope that they would be able to catch on to like.
Yeah, I have been. It's been a long time.
I've been feeling like,
I hate it when you catch your therapist doing that to you.
Well,
I've had that happen.
The
People
reflection,
love it, actually.
the reflection is like, I love a reflection. I love to like say what I hear, not what they said.
Yep.
Mhm,
So I'd be like,
okay.
oh, what I'm hearing you say. Like, I'll be like, I'll let them ramble, and then I'll be like,
It's always a ramble.
yeah, I'll let them ramble because you're trying to get your thoughts out.
Mhm.
Like, that's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like, they're rambling to you and you're trying to pick up the themes and make sense of what they're saying. So she was rambling to me about this. I'd be like, it sounds like you're still really hurt by what she did and feel upset that she's moved on.
Mm-hmm.
So like, that would be like my in without being like, bitch, what the fuck's wrong with you that you care about this person? Because like
It starts you in a conversation. They'll go, well, or
and they'd argue with me.
Yeah.
They would be like, well, it's not about her moving on. She would have globbed onto that.
Yep.
Mhm.
And then you
And
get
then
to piece it apart.
that would have been my backdoor way to talk
Mhm.
about like, are you having any feelings about the fact that like you're still hurt and she's clearly not
I
upset?
love doing shit like that.
Like, instead of being like, what's wrong with you? It's kind of like pointing out like maybe the thing that you're mad about is different than what you think.
Mm.
Just maybe.
Yeah.
So
All right.
I feel like I love when that shit happens. It feels like a little bubble inside me burst in like a good way. It's like, ooh, more information.
You're weird. All right, here we go. I found this and they deleted it. So I really,
Can you read it?
yes.
Okay, I can't see.
I always love when I'm like, ooh, this one. I read
That
the
means
first
some
line and I was
shit.
like, she is going to regret writing this.
Oh, you're great at
You are.
calling that out, actually.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, go.
Am I the asshole for refusing to share my inheritance with my husband? Me, 34 female, dad passed away about 5 years ago, and it still feels surreal. We had a bit of a complicated relationship toward the end, and we didn't talk much the last year, but he still left me a sizable inheritance, around $120K. Sorry, it's not funny. But that's not a shareable amount, babe.
No.
It was they're poor. Sorry. It was unexpected, honestly, and I felt pretty careful with it. It came directly to me, not to both of us, and there was no conditions. My husband, 30, and I don't want to dismiss what her dad did. Like, I think it's really sweet, and like anybody who's working class, like that's a lot of savings to have. Like, that's an impressive amount of money to be able to pass
Not
down
enough
to your
to
kids.
Share.
But like, I thought it was going to be millions of dollars. The fact that he's like coming for it, and maybe it's because maybe let me see. Maybe there's still maybe she's wrong.
Yeah,
There's
maybe,
some shit.
I'm confused because I still think she's an asshole. What did they get divorced?
I'm assuming
Wait,
because
keep
that's what
going.
she's
I don't
talking
think so.
about.
I don't want to scan. Keep going.
Yeah,
Okay.
keep going. Sorry.
I'm like assuming they're getting divorced if he's coming for it. Okay, my husband, 35 male, was supportive at first, but once the check cleared, he started throwing around ideas. He wants us to use some of it to pay off his remaining student loans. Got it. Maybe upgrade his truck and take a little trip to breathe. I told him I wasn't comfortable doing that. I'd rather put most of it into a high yield savings account or maybe invest part of it. I said I might help with some home stuff like finally fixing the roof or replacing the old water heater, but I wasn't treating it like our money.
I don't know how I feel about that, actually.
I don't
It's
either.
bullshit.
Yeah.
It's bullshit.
It's not bullshit, but not offering
Your
to
partners.
do anything for him. The student loan, that feels a little bit pointed. To
Oh,
me.
I mean, he, I don't know.
He's not entitled to any of it.
No, not at all.
Well, now they know that they're just like together and like they just like came into some money and she's like the things he wants to do with it
are not outrageous.
Some of them sound immature.
A little childish.
A little childish.
Like what?
Like if you guys only have 120
the truck, yeah.
The truck.
A depreciating asset.
Yeah, no, I agree.
The truck, take a little trip to breathe.
I was like, I want them to go somewhere.
I also though, like to be honest, like if I got money, I would definitely take $5,000 of it and go on a trip.
Yes.
Immediately. So that's not like a crazy thing. Paying off his student loans could or couldn't be a bad idea because one, how much are the student loans? Two, are they like
they're low interest?
Are they low interest
or a late one? Yeah.
Or are they like, private?
Right.
And it's like eating you guys alive.
Yeah.
I think the issue with this is that like she doesn't want to be accountable at all to put that money towards them together. Like I think she can have like a huge say on what they do with the money, but like the high yield savings account would be for them.
Yes.
Or the investment would be for them. Like it wouldn't be for her. It would be for them.
Yes. And it sounds like they don't have children.
I don't know. He took that hard, said I was being selfish and acting like I was single. You are. He brought up all the times he helped cover me financially when I was between jobs during the pandemic, which to be fair, he did. But this feels different. That was us surviving together. This is legacy money from my father. I told him it's not about trusting him. It's just, it feels like the one financial thing in my life I have full control over. And now you know why you're digging your heels in.
Yeah.
Things have been awkward since. He's not being outright mean, but he's distant and emotionally passive aggressive. Well, he's hurt. Don't try to make him the bad guy. He's hurt. He's not being mean. He's hurt. He'll say things like, must be nice to have a nest egg when we talk about bills. I feel bad, but I also feel like if I give in on this, I'll resent it forever. Still, I can't help wondering if the roles were reversed, would I expect a say in what he does with it? Yes, he would.
Yeah, of course.
Maybe I would, but that does not make me a hypocrite or just human. I didn't think I was doing anything wrong if I wanted to protect what little security I have, but now I'm second guessing everything. Am I the asshole?
You are being an asshole. And
hold on, wait. While I'm reading this, I'm picking out though that they're both petty with money.
Yes.
Because why did
an unsuccessful couple?
Yeah, because I'm like, why did you feel like he was covering? Like, there is a part of like he's pulling more weight in this, but like, did you feel like that was over your head and like that you were financially like unstable and that put you in a weird position in the marriage?
And now she feels
because she's also seems like she needs this to feel steady and safe. And why does she need that? That could either be her weird shit or that could be a result of the marriage.
And it sounds like she didn't even know she was going to get this money. So I'm like,
I got way too many biases for this. Like, think about this. He heard her bitch about that dad for the last fucking 10 years, basically, right? Just, he sat there in bed, just listened to her, like, go in.
Yeah.
Now she gets money from him, and suddenly it's like this. And he supported her through COVID and shit like that. Like, fuck you. Like, for real. That's like a petty power game. Like, no, this is mine. This is mine. I control it. Like, okay. Like, what, you just drew that line as soon as you got some money?
I will say that if she decides to not make this an us thing and keep it as a her thing, it will forever change their marriage.
Oh,
they can't go back from this. Like,
He'll
I want her to know.
Her again.
No, it'll always be
us and them.
And these are the couples that always feel like they never have trust issues, and it's like the biggest trust issue.
This is like a sore subject for me because like money is an issue, and that's all I'm gonna say about my personal stuff. But like, I have been the person with less money and I've been the person with more money, not in this relationship, but in other relationships. And I think the way that the person with more money acts is really telling about whether or not they see you as a partner and whether or not they're actually willing to sacrifice and show up for you. So if she would have said, like, yes, this is our money, but what I want to do with this money is to like build a nest egg for our future.
Yes.
Different.
Reasonable.
Still is her making a power move saying it's mine, but at least it's an investment in them. I think like this notion of like it's my money to save is part of the issue. Like this notion of like I finally have control is like
it's feeding her in some way. And not
And like I said, I don't know if she felt insecure about not having money before and that was like a thing. Like it's the first time he ever made these comments about like must be nice. Is that like because he's hurt? Because then I get it. Or is like has there been comments before about like him covering you? It's kind of hard.
Is he petty in that way already?
But she's I think she knows she's being a hypocrite.
Oh, for sure.
She's totally being a hypocrite.
Well, it sounds like she's feels a little guilty.
And
she's a white lady.
I've never 100%. It's not even a question. Yeah.
What were you going to say?
I was just gonna. I don't remember if the roles were
I'm just pulling up
reversed.
some of the
Yeah,
some of the comments here. Whoops, sorry. There we go.
If the roles
I
were
was just
reversed,
gonna
what I
ask.
expect is saying what he does with it. Maybe I would, but that does that make me a hypocrite or just human? You can both. You can be both a hypocrite and human, which seems likely like you are.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everyone's just telling her she's being selfish.
But yeah, basically, yeah, you're self-aware enough to know that this is a little shady.
Intelligent
basically.
enough to have self-awareness and selfish enough to ignore it.
And also, even the truck is like really, I think, like I would have to know, like, is the truck falling apart?
Right.
Or does he, like, you know what I mean?
Or
Like,
like,
have you guys been living in abject poverty?
To
And
buy
like
a
he
new
wants
truck.
he wants like a used truck that's going to be under 20 grand or whatever that he's going to use for the next 10 years. Or like, does he think his car's ugly and he wants to throw, he wants a big dick truck. I don't really know.
Especially as a man to
like write it off on his like taxes or like
the fact that you want to be driving the nicer vehicle possibly, like, to me is always a weird thing. Like, you know, you usually set up the woman to drive the nicer car and you drive the shit box.
Even if they guys
look
don't
at me
have
and
kids.
you know.
That's how I always kind of thought too.
That's how it's supposed to be. That's just how it is, or whatever. If you're
Isn't
a man,
the notion that they're supposed to be in the more quote reliable car?
Yeah, exactly. Because she's a damsel in distress at all times.
And
absolutely,
and usually has the kids in her car.
No, it's about like you treat your woman in that way, right? You queen her up a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, queen her up a little bit.
I think you're supposed to.
You ain't wrong. You ain't wrong.
Right.
You ain't never been wrong.
Not about that.
Yeah, there's your marriage won't recover from this.
I agree.
I'm like that would be my feedback is like, even if you think he's in the wrong, like make it very clear that it's your guys' money and that you're going to invest it and put it into a high yield savings, which I don't think is worth doing. I think you should just invest it, but that's just me. And put it into a high yield savings or whatever. And then if you ever decide that you want to spend it on something fucking frilly that is not needed, like a new car or a vacation or whatever, do him the courtesy of having the conversation about whether or not it's worth it for you guys to pull this out together.
Yeah. Include him a little bit.
You know what I think
I will say, sorry. I feel like I know we've been talking about a lot of context around it and stuff, but just given like what's written here, if they went to couples therapy, like, and were committed to it, I feel like they could like parse this out and work it out.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think
or if they had like enough, like it could just have enough ongoing conversations, but it sounds like they're in panic mode a little bit.
Yeah. Well, and sounds like his feelings are really hurt.
Yeah. Sorry, what were we going to say, Gabe?
Oh, I was just going to say, like, what my big thing looking at this is the perfect example of something that when I was married the first time, this is the kind of thing that you go through and it really stings and it like fucks you up in a way that you're not in touch with, kind of, you know, but you just keep going because you just think, well, you don't get a divorce over something like that. Whereas now I read this, I'd be out of this fucking relation just on that alone, because that's so telling to her character and how she sees me, you know, in the relationship.
I get that, but I also feel like when you listen to people, like when you get like, oh, I have a trust or like a whatever, they can move through that.
Yeah, okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I should amend that. Like, you could go to therapy if you wanted. I'm too old to do that now. There's that. I mean, I'm not for me personally. I'm saying, like, I'm not looking to do that in a relationship this, like, early on or something like that. You know what I mean?
And I don't even think that couples therapy is, like, the end-all, be-all meant for whatever. But I feel like for an issue like this, like, you could give it a try to, like, work through. Like, if it's not working out, like, talking about it at home. Like,
I think the interesting thing about this story is that she could either be like just being kind of like selfish or whatever and trying to, I guess what I'm saying is like, depending on the details you include or don't include changes the story. And I just think it's really interesting because this is like a real life, like interpretation of like how shit goes.
Yeah.
Like he's probably telling a totally different story. That's not even a lie. Like they're both telling the same story. That's like the truth from their perspective. Yeah. Like he's probably saying like shit like, you know, she's not willing to help me with my student loan payments, which is different than like paying off my student loans.
Yeah.
You know, like my truck's falling apart. Like, it's just funny because like
they both have
you could have the same like quote, like story, but different details paint you in a different light.
Very much so.
Ooh, so I got a question for you guys as therapists or whatever. Yeah. So do you think that, like, I feel like, okay, I'm from the past, right? I'm from a time long ago.
We're old.
And And in the old days, and really even before me, it was like you did not talk about your marriage outside of your marriage with other people, right? Maybe with your best friend, that's it.
Right.
Cut to my marriage. I'm on fucking stage bitching about it. I'm fucking bitching about it to every fucking friend. Like just
you bitch about it to us. You're not even married anymore.
And I look back at it. Well, and I'm cool with it now. But when I was married, I look back at that and just go like, that was such a horrible move and such a terrible choice, I guess. And she was doing it too, by the way. Like,
we know.
But it's just one of those things that do you think that that's something in our culture that needs to be reeled back in? Are people too open with their mess now?
I don't know. I feel like
I don't think so, because when I think about like relationships need support from communities, and I feel like things fester when people don't talk about them. Like, yes, there's private things. You're allowed, like, of course, you're allowed to keep things like in your relationship. That's always healthy. But I think like people also learn from like, oh, like this isn't normal, or this is normal, or like, and so I don't know. I think they take more village than people think.
I also think, why are you sharing?
Yeah.
That's like the big, like, why are you sharing and who are you sharing to?
Yep.
Like,
it doesn't need to be for everybody.
I think you have to have enough like emotional intelligence and awareness to know if like what you're sharing with the person you're sharing it with is going to make them treat your partner differently or root against your relationship. And if like those things are happening, you got to be really, really careful who you're telling. Like there's things I wouldn't tell my mom, like, or my grandma, or like, you know, and you wouldn't tell your dad or whatever, because it's like,
they don't need to.
I don't want you to dislike my partner because like I'm telling you about their worst self.
Yes.
But at the same time, like I could tell Rachel, and Rachel's not going to act any differently because she's has the maturity to be like, well, everyone kind of shows their ass in a relationship. Obviously there's exceptions.
Yes.
But I just think like, why are you telling? But I also like when I think of your generation, I think of the trope of like men hiding out from their wives in the garage and like talking shit about how all women basically are all these negative things. And like, you're not telling specifics of your marriage, but they were definitely, I feel like, at least in the sitcoms, bitching about being unhappy.
Oh, that became a societal thing.
Yeah,
everybody.
For sure. Yeah,
the old ball and chain, all those kind of references.
Yeah, and then women, you know, rolling their eyes at their husband and looking at each other and like scoffing.
Yeah.
You know, like I think there's like the people were private about the embarrassing shit, and the shit that they felt was normal, they're not private about.
Yeah, agreed.
I think there's a ton of people who are confused, like don't understand that. You know, they think they'll bitch about their spouse and that it makes them somehow look better, you know, like, I mean, to their friends and people. And it's just like, it just makes you both look like a fucking, you know, mess. And it's just, I don't know. It's just one of those things I feel like it's become so common.
It's different for me too, because I have different, you know, like, you know, Jay and I, if we talk about our relationships or whatever, it feels, I don't know how to explain this. It just feels like there's some level of like groundedness to it. Like we're not just going off the fucking rails or whatever. And there's some, what is that called? Perspective or something. I don't know.
It's because you guys are like you guys have meaningful, like you know, I feel like you guys are intentional with things you do.
She's right. There is like, what is your intention behind it? And like other people, it is okay to just bitch about your partner sometimes. Like and just vent and shit like that.
Sure.
But some people don't realize that like that's all, no, literally, but like, you know,
sometimes
it's a pattern. It's all they're doing. And that's like another thing. Like they're not, like you can't only bitch to your friends about like you have to talk about the other shit, or you have to let them experience.
I think it also helps when I bitch about somebody, like I'm bitching about him to somebody who spends time with us, so she sees like, oh, it's usually good.
Yeah, and I like him.
I think like for people who, and it's like for me, it starts to be repetitive and annoying when like there's this cyclical relation. Like this is something that a lot of women do, is they come and like they'll spill their guts about their relationship when they think they're going to leave.
Yeah.
And then when they don't leave,
they're rah-rah and then
they just show up with like a fresh face on, like it never happened.
I saw people pull away from
That's a hard one for me.
From someone because of that. Yes.
It makes you want to pull away.
Hard. And I, as a woman, know it's hard to be a woman. And I know that relationships are hard. And I know that you don't get the perfect partner and you have to kind of pick and choose the things you want and all of that shit. But like the fact that you can't even come back and like, we can't even have another follow-up conversation. We just have to pretend it didn't happen is wild to me.
It's wild.
Just come back and say,
I can't. I don't want to.
I was really upset. Yeah, that shit's not healthy, but like I'm not ready to leave yet, and there's a lot of good stuff. I will move on. I don't have anything else to say.
Good. Otherwise, I'm just living. I'm like, okay, like,
yeah.
I'm checking in with you. Like, are we good? Are we good?
You just called me and put me on speaker. You just called me on speakerphone and had me on silent so I could hear if this nigga was whooping your ass or not. Are you gonna tell me what's going on now?
Me to you, you to me.
Quit reading my diary.
LOL, quit reading mine.
Where are you? It's the end of the weekend, but I still wanna turn up. Yeah, I still wanna turn up. All I want is to go again, but you ain't picking your phone up. Why you messing my head up? Any night, any day, let me take you away. All I need is just saying